Welcome to the Blackout Show, presented by the Guillen Grid, a show about the Chicago White Sox baseball, the good, the bad, the ugly. We'll debate what's working and what's not on the south side of Chicago. It's old school versus new school baseball. And most importantly, we're keeping all the receipts.
Yo, what is up, everybody? It's Gonzo, myself, with the one and only Jay is with us tonight. And we have a special guest tonight. His name is Nate Rasmussen. He is the Director of Amateur Scouting at Prospect Live and is a coach at Bushnell University, where he pitched at. And welcome to the stage, Nate. How are you doing tonight, my friend?
I'm doing so great. Thanks for having me, Chris and Jay. I'm excited to talk some ball and some White Sox balls. I haven't been able to spew my White Sox thoughts yet, so I'm excited to do this.
Yes.
Before we get into the nitty gritty with pitching talk and just baseball in general, tell us a little bit about yourself. I want to know how you became a fan. Give me some of your background and where you're at right now, including your luck with getting recruits to Bushnell.
Yeah, we're still working on that one. I grew up in Seattle. Baseball's always kind of been the thing I love. Big Seattle Mariners guy growing up, so lived through the dark days of that whole thing. Not a whole lot of winning seasons back then. Was lucky enough to pitch in college at Bellevue and Bushnell University here in Eugene, Oregon. Just recently graduated and have remained on staff now. And then picked up my Prospects Live job close to a year ago now. And just recently started working on the amateur side over there, kind of doing all of our draft coverage, previously on the pro side. So I've got a little bit of both to me now, but yeah, just a baseball guy through and through, man.
All right. Even though I got a lot of respect for you and some love for you, you told me some stuff backstage. It's all good. We'll get to it, but I already told him it's all love at the end of the game. So let's get into some fun here, Nate. Let's start off in the majors with Grant Taylor. I want to hear your thoughts on where you think he'll probably end up, because I've got a pretty high floor of him. I think he could be an elite closer, but I think he's got that high side to be a top arm in the rotation.
Really?
Let me hear your thoughts though, as a guy in the national stage.
Absolutely. Grant Taylor is one of my favorite pitchers in baseball. I just want to make that super clear. I think it's one of the most electric arms we've seen in the last couple of years, kind of right up there with Mizorowski, maybe just a tick below. I think that the relief risk is even greater than a guy like the Miz is. The command has been good enough and the stuff is elite, right? But the durability concerns, I think, are probably going to keep him in the bullpen. I kind of have this view of similar to a guy like Matt Brash, kind of a similar story in the minor leagues, really elite stuff. The command was, hit or miss, had his chance to start. In the major leagues, didn't go great. We've seen it with guys like Mason Miller too, who did a little bit better than a guy like Brash did. But guys cannot pull the ball in the air against Grant Taylor, which is the new fad in baseball. It's the craziest cut ride fastball maybe in the league right now, right up there with like Cade Horton. Like these really impressive shapes that allow him to leverage multiple plus pitches. I truly think that he is like the next Mason Miller light, and that begs the question of like, are you going to trade him at some point for some value? Because he could get a huge return in a couple of years. I'm really glad you guys held on to him this trade deadline because he is so young. But truly one of the most elite young relief options in the league right now. And one of the most exciting pitchers, period. I'm just not so sure if you can start him or not. I'm not fully there just with the health stuff,
Yeah, because that's the thing is, I think he had 17 innings about last year before he got injured, and I think he was about at 16 innings at Double-A this year before they, they kind of did the Arizona thing and then brought him back and actually promoted him relatively, from that time period. So I'm very curious to see where that inning load ends up at the end of the season and kind of see if they keep him in the bullpen for next year or, if they end up bumping him into the rotation. So, yeah.
Well, he's only at 21 innings right now. He got 3 saves, 6 holds. So right now, I think what Brian Bannister wants the White Sox to do is just keep him in high leverage. We've seen him as an opener. I don't like that at all. If you already accumulating these volume stats in those high leverage situations, don't even waste an opener. You got the Sean Burks, you got an Aaron Zavali, who is basically a tank. He just showed the Angels that he's literally a Southside tank, and he will go the distance if you ask him to. Use that to your advantage. I don't like Grant Taylor as a starter at all. Because when we come up on a situation to where we're calling a Mason Miller light, it took 2 to 3 years for Mason Miller, I'm talking about from the minors to where he's at right now. He had to hatch a little bit. Pat Murphy said something about Mizorowski still having the yolk, that moist feeling on him. And I understood that because obviously my name is Jay Targaryen, House of the Dragon. You got to let these dragon eggs, incubate. And having Grant Taylor as a starter, I think you get away from what he really is. He can be an elite closer. You're the White Sox from 50 to 70 wins. That's your window right now, right? You could just throw him into high leverage. Hey, we're up a run. Give me some length. All you're doing is building the body of work and making sure that you take the mileage off. Once you get into that starter round and trying to stretch him out, Nate, you already talked about the health concerns. We could bypass that by just giving him a secluded spot in the bullpen and not derail his development.
We saw the package that Mason Miller got. Who's to say that isn't him in 2 years? Like, maybe that's how you get your top 10 guy in the system.
Yep.
I think it's a really interesting thought. I just wouldn't expect Grant Taylor to be along for forever if he's just going to be a reliever is the only problem, which I know is kind of sad to say because he is so electric. Just teams don't really hold on to those young relievers like that.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, what's Grant Taylor's value to the White Sox? Is it an elite closer in 2 years or fetching a product that could we watched Mason Miller fetch Leo Debris, right? Unheard of on any dynasty format ever, right? Like, that trade doesn't happen. That trade gets vetoed in every league we see, and it happened. Like, it got passed through. What if that's what Mason Miller's getting? Imagine what Grant Taylor could get if you built the body of work, keep him fresh.
Couldn't agree more.
And Jay, I'm sorry to upset you, but if you don't think Grant's going to be in the rotation, it's not going to get any better from here with our other 2 arms we're about to talk about, because Nate's got some breaking news for you. And Nate,
oh boy,
let's get to the other 2 big arms the big prospects of the system with Noah Schultz in AAA at the moment, and Hagen Smith, drafted last year from the White Sox in the first round at Double-A in Birmingham. I'll let you take it from whichever angle you want. You have the floor, my friend.
Yeah, just talking about the White Sox pitching development system kind of at a whole, it's a lot of 2-pitch guys right now. It's a lot of high stuff, high variance, high walks, kind of borderline command guys right now. And we haven't seen the willingness from the White Sox as an organization to use seam effects or start using kind of alternative new school pitching development models to get these guys a more well-rounded arsenal. So that's why, like, taking a guy like Hagen Smith in a draft on paper is cool. It's a high upside play, but there has to be a development plan for him. And I haven't seen that yet because it's a fastball and a slider, and they're very good. But at the big league level, even as a lefty, you have to have at least 3 pitches, and all 3 of those would have to be very good. And we're kind of seeing that in both Schultz and Hagen Smith, where there's a real lack of a third pitch that is going to allow these guys to reach whatever potential ceiling they might have. And we're getting to scary territory now because they are both close enough to a call-up now where, like, the development time is running out in the minor leagues. It's kind of hard to add an extra pitch. So I'm really starting to look towards this offseason with those 2 and see kind of what changes heading into next spring. But right now, like, at Prospects Live, Schultz and Hagen Smith are in real danger of dropping off our top 100. They're still probably top 120-ish prospects, but when you look at guys with that much relief risk, it's a really scary thing long term. And I don't even want to get into the conversation of, oh, they could be elite relievers, because that's not what you want out of these guys. But there has to be an adjustment made at some point. I mean, Schultz added a cutter. Like, that's cool. It hasn't had great returns so far. There's durability issues with Schultz, kind of in the same realm. And Schultz even added velo, but the fastball shape still isn't quite there. It's like, it's really he's almost a one pitch guy with a couple other options. And then Hagen Smith, I mean, the walks are pretty scary right now. And we're just not seeing the steps from the White Sox player development, systems in trying to give these guys some relief and not having to rely on two pitches so constantly. So that is my piece. I think there's just a lot of relief risk, but there's also still the upside risk. If one of these guys learns another good pitch, it could really all work out.
Nate, you're a Seattle guy. You remember when Seattle traded for Randy Johnson and what he was before he put on that Mariners uniform? He was basically Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz. Now it's up to the individual. There's no amount of coaching that could get this out of these kids. You have to be accountable for what the product that you're putting out. You're professional now. Like all the projections are done. The White Sox have exhausted all of their draft resources, because at the end of the day, look at this past draft. We went and we got Billy Carlson. There is no more drafting pitchers for the White Sox. Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz. That's going to be the pot of gold for us. And I don't want to put the onus on the development staff, because look at what we're doing at the major league level. We got some value from Adrian Hauser. Savali is the tank. Sean Burke has been good. At the end of the day, Sean Burke has been good for what we've asked for. We've already hit a lick with Smith. So at the end of the day, I don't want to put it on the White Sox organization on if Smith or Schultz end up as relievers, because at the end of the day, the command has to be, you have to be accountable for strikes as a pitcher. Period.
I agree. As a former player, I get that perspective 100%. I think it's a mix of that, and like they do really well with like these reclamation pitchers, right? Like you just talked about, like they do really well at tweaking these guys enough and getting value out of them. It's these bigger projects that sometimes that there's this struggle lately. And they could be one-off instances or whatnot, but I think it's just something to monitor, that these two guys are kind of in similar enough scenarios, and we're both, high draft picks.
Yeah. I guess we're expecting them to get closer to their ceiling than their floor this stage of the game. But on their side, they still have a little bit of time. Yeah. They can incubate a little bit, depending on what the White Sox want to do with their window, if we have one. Gonzo, what else you got in the microwave for me?
Well, so I think a 2-pitch mix. I mean, it's great to start in the minors, right? But you saw with Schultz, we saw a little bit of that cutter at the end of last year, and we obviously know Bannister is a changeup guy. So the fact that he included that into the mix, and you're seeing the regression from this year. I mean, I'm accepting of it because I know it's something that he's working through in his mix. And it's crazy because he was so dominant a year ago. And I know we were talking about this in the pre-show. So it's going to be interesting to see where he's at when spring starts up again and to see where he's at. But Hagen, at least he had, but for me, it's like, at least he has that third pitch, because like with Hagen Smith, like he's been slider, sinker, and I haven't been seeing too much. So I wonder, and I wonder what your thoughts here on Nate is. Do you think these guys maybe go to like a sweeper or some sort if they can't lock in that changeup with their profile?
I think the cutter was the right move for Taylor, and I think it actually might be the right move as well for Hagen
Schultz?
Smith. Oh yeah, sorry, for Schultz. We've seen kind of a move away from the sweeper in the last year or so of baseball. Especially for lefties, just because you're not facing as many lefties, and it obviously doesn't play as well. We're seeing these tighter breaking ball shapes starts to kind of take over in this platoon neutrality world. I mean, you see it all the time. Like a team like the Detroit Tigers are deploying platoons like nobody's business, and the cutter kind of helps break through that, and it gives you a hint of pitch tunnel ability. which both of these guys could use, because if you're going to have 3 pitches, which both of them are probably going to be 3 pitch starters, 3 main pitch guys, you have to be able to tunnel those 3 pitches. Like that's what DeGrom does, which is obviously an extreme example. At the end of the day, I look at Schultz and Smith and I'm like, you don't have this big of a drop off in command unless you are actively working through something. We see it a lot. These really top end pitching prospects who all of a sudden the command drops off. It's not because you went to a higher level and all of a sudden you can't throw strikes. It's because they have to make a tangible change to achieve this higher ceiling. It's like a guy like Jacob Mizorowski, right? He was falling off top 100 lists at this same time in his career as well. And then he came back on him because the command was never this horrible thing. He just needed to work on some stuff to help round out his mix. I think that's what we're seeing with Smith and Schultz right now. I think that the White Sox correctly identified that something needed to change last year, even though they were doing so well last year, and they're making those changes now. So I just can't wait for spring training for these two guys, because then we see the finished product, right? A year of work. Now we'll see what they actually are, and you're going to see them rise again, just like a guy like Mizorowski.
I just want to say, from what I'm seeing, arm side run has to be the issue when you talk about command, because you talked about Schultz introducing a cutter. Why can't you introduce a changeup? Because arm side command is hard. It's hard to fucking throw a good changeup. Like, I was in the box today against somebody who had 0 command. So I completely eliminated the inner third of the plate. And I've had a lot of success. Let's just say that. After the show, I'll show you guys the picture of the book, because one of the few times of the year I took a picture of the book. With that being said, I really feel like these young pitchers got to get back to being accountable for arm side command, because those are the grown man pitches. Like, you look across the league, we're watching Clayton Kershaw with basically a dead body get quality starts win for the Dodgers, literally with a quarter of the stuff that we've seen from a future Hall of Famer, because he has arm side command. This is cutter, slider, curveball Kershaw, but the arm side command is what's getting them through. I feel like with the lefties specifically, because I don't want to get long-winded, but look at what the Cincinnati Reds are doing with Nicky Lodolo and Andrew Abbott, and I rest my case. I want the White Sox to get to that point with their lefties.
Like 2 pitch mix, for that to work, you have to have one of those pitches being so dominant, that it's just untouched, like what Cease was.
Like overkill.
Like Gosman is like an example I throw around a lot.
Yeah, and to the same extent, we saw Crochet last year have those 2 pitches, and then once he started throwing that cutter, it was just lights out after that. And I'm very curious, like you said, once spring comes around, let's see where they're at and see where this development goes from there. We're already 15 minutes in, Nate, and we're just 3 arms deep. So let's keep the ball moving. 2 of the most surprising arms in the system highlighted from the 2025 season have been Christian Oppor and Tanner McDougal. Can you tell us a little bit, what you've seen from this I won't say progression, but this flame of a spark in their seasons this season, breaking out of this system?
Yeah, I mean, starting with Oppor, he's really getting it done this year, and that's because the command has just taken a tick up into that salvageable starter realm. It's like kind of anything over 14% for a walk rate is like really scary territory for a starter to be effective. And now Oppor's on the other side of that, which is a really promising sign. He's a JUCO guy, so you knew he was going to be raw and take a little bit longer, right? Already 21 years old. But the command is taking a huge step up in high A. He's not getting barreled as much. He's just not the fast moving guy, because he's a premium velocity guy that still needs some time to develop the secondaries. There's reliever risk just like these other guys, sadly, just because we're not 100% sure where the command's going to land. And that is just a huge part in starting, as well as being able to command that 3rd and 4th pitch. The slider is really big, and it's a huge velo difference. It's like almost 15 miles per hour off the fastball, I believe. That's a scary thing, because you need that bridge in between. Like, this is a guy who's doing like a big, slow sweeper and then a hard fastball. It's going to work in the minor leagues. It's not going to work in the major leagues. So that's another development point we look for a guy like Oppor. We're going to either have to tighten up that breaking ball or add some other pitches to the mix. So it just kind of depends on if he can, create feel for something like a cutter or a tighter slider. And then Tanner McDougal is probably my favorite guy that we'll talk about outside of
really?
Grant Taylor. I think that he is your best chance at I think he's your most likely starter, in my opinion. I think that's hard to say because Hagen Smith and Noah Schultz are going to get the opportunity, but long term, Tanner McDougal has a really strong floor, in my opinion. He's close to a top 100 guy in my mind right now. I don't work on the top 100 list anymore, but he's in that conversation of like top 150. To fastball, it's up to 100 with a 4-pitch mix, right? So he has the feel for these other pitches that a lot of these other guys don't have that we've previously talked about. The command's really trending up in Double-A. He doesn't miss bats as much as you like, but that's not really a bad thing if you can command 4 pitches and work deeper into games. McDougal's really like kind of my favorite out of this crop, and I think he's the guy you kind of look at moving forward as like, all right, this could be our next starter after, you know, the Schultz and the Hagen Smith lot.
From that repertoire that you just said about Tanner, I mean, look at what Drew Rasmussen is doing right now for the Rays. That's the same repertoire. Now, he's going to have to mold himself, get a little bit of contact earlier in accounts. Don't try to get your at-bats to 6 and 7 pitches to where you exhaust your pitch count in that 3rd inning and you're getting yanked. I agree with you because at the end of the day, you look at a guy like Jordan Leisure who generates a lot of contact. What he needs to do is figure out how to get that contact earlier in at bats, because the more pitches a hitter sees, they're going to key in, and that's when you get that extra base hit, that slug, the stuff that absolutely kills you. Absolutely. Look at what Randy Arozarena has been doing for the Mariners this entire summer, just breaking people's backs, bro. If Jordan Leisure can figure out to just get some easier contact earlier in accounts, get somebody to roll over, he'll be fine in this leverage. But the deeper the at-bats, the stronger the hitter gets. Tanner McDougal doesn't give people that chance. No, we're getting you out of the batter's box. We're getting you back in the dugout. Next man up, next man up. That is what a starting pitcher is all about, to be honest with you. I agree.
Man. I agree. I like Jordan Leisure, by the way. I think that there's definitely something there.
I feel like in high leverage situations, he does it. So one hit can kill you in the 7th, 8th inning. But if he starts a game, you could probably work over let's just say the blemish inning of him giving up 2 runs. You can't work that over in the 8th, 9th inning. Well, all right.
I thought you were going to keep going there for a sec.
No, I'm out of gas. Like literally out of gas.
Well, I'm actually shocked because I wasn't expecting Nate to just throw his favorite frenzy there for Tanner McDougal.
Tanner McDougal.
It's a different one, yeah.
That is, but hey, I'm all here for it. The more the merrier.
Right?
But I'm about that point where I'm transitioning because I've been itching at, because the last month we've talked more so about, you know, the hitters and our farm system, but we never, I mean, granted with the draft class we talked about the hitters, but we never touched
Grant
the
Taylor
pitchers.
snuck up on me, Gonzo. Like I never in a million years, I wasn't thinking about him. That when Tanner McDougal got hurt a couple of years ago, he was like kind of off my radar a little bit. Like he put me back on the map this summer. Like literally this summer, it was like, oh, hey, welcome back.
But I was going to say, we completely glanced over the arms of this class, and our friend here actually ranked the White Sox with an A- as a rank for their draft class. And the D1 site said that their favorite day 2 pick was the behemoth, 6'9" Gabe Davis. So we got a couple arms in this class to talk about. I'm going to list them. Nate's going to take it away. We had the monster, Gabe Davis from Oklahoma State in the 5th round. And then we had Riley Eikhoff, who I know you just mentioned out of Coastal Carolina. He went in the 9th. And then I know you mentioned Max Banks in the 14th from Washington, but those are the 3 that stood out to you. So take it away.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe Davis, man. Oklahoma State guy. Oklahoma State has a lot of fun players right now. And just the clay on this guy is insane. He's going to run he's the most White Sox pitcher ever because he's going to run the reliever risk, right? Like there's a very, very real possibility he ends up being a reliever. But if it works out, it's going to work out to an insane degree. And you saw them go over slot for him, which kind of shows you how much they did value him. is huge extension with a loud fastball. So that alone, you have one built-in double plus pitch no matter where he is. He's had problems missing the zone a lot, especially with the fastball. Like he's almost so big and he extends so much that sometimes the release point stuff gets a little weird. He like misses up in the zone a lot for a fastball, which I feel like we don't see as much anymore nowadays. It's an upper 80s slider, which is why he's going to get the reliever comps, because it's really hard slider, really hard fastball, and he's kind of this 2-pitch warrior right now. The changeup shows life, and I think people actually really like the shape within the scouting community, so that's why he gets all this kind of starter talk, because he does have 3-pitch shapes built in there. It's just developing that feel as a giant guy for a changeup. Just a little bit harder for those guys generally. He's going to take some time. This is a guy who's going to see success early in the lower minors, though. Like this is your guy next year. He's probably going to get off to a pretty fast start. K number is going to be really good just because he's going to simply overpower hitters. He's going to start rising up boards really fast. So I think you guys you're going to have really good early returns for Gabe Davis. And Riley Eikhoff, man, you got him for $7,000. This is a guy who spent 5 years at Coastal Carolina, was just a stalwart in their rotation. 90 innings pitched with a 3.1 ERA and only 11 walks. Like this is the best command guy in college pitching this year. This is the old school pitcher. I told Chris earlier, this is the guy your dad loves. Right, like this is your just command artist. It's not elite stuff.
Riley Eikhoff. Sleep on that guy.
Like this is the guy, right? And it's a sinker first guy, which is exactly what you need to be if you're going to be his profile. It's a gyro breaker, which works against both sides of the platoon. He wins baseball games. He needs to take some leaps with the stuff because this is a stuff world. At the end of the day, we've seen the command guys start to go out of fashion. But I think there's room to add a little bit of size. So I think maybe the velocity is going to start ticking up, but he's just not the typical White Sox guy, which made it such a fun pick because he's going to be a good pitcher. It just depends on, how far he can make it. And you spent no money on him. And then Max Banks is a guy who's from my local Seattle area, played at the University of Washington. He actually transferred from a Division III school, Chapman University in California, one of the best D3s around. It's a low 90s fastball, but he gets a lot of chase on it because of the deception built into the delivery. It doesn't play great metrically, but he just has that built-in deception, which is kind of the future of pitching at this point, is just how can you make hitters not see this pitch. It's got a huge sweeper. It's kind of like the Iron Mike over the top build, and it's not elite stuff, but good locations, average command. He's worked out of a variety of roles throughout his college career, and all I can see on this guy is everyone just calls him the biggest gamer of all time, and I choose to bet on that guy in the later rounds of the draft that he's just going to figure out a way to make an impact. So I think you got a bulldog in Max Banks.
I love that, man. Wasn't expecting to hear that from $7,000 slot value either.
Getz bots, let's go.
Now, before we wrap this up, Nate, I was curious because I know you mentioned the hitters, and we've been talking about for a month, but I never got to hear your insight for our hitters. Tell me not only about Billy Carlson, but tell me about the favorite hitters in this system that most intrigue you.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, Billy Carlson is going to be way better than I think people are giving him credit for with his kind of not slide down boards, but you got him at great value at 10, man. I think he should have been within the top 10. Some guys had him as high as 1 on their personal boards. It's a defense-led profile, but the bat's there. Like it's a 60 on defense. Like this guy could win Gold Gloves. Like this is your future shortstop if everything works out. And we're not 100% sure, like hit power. It's kind of up in the air still, in my opinion, but he does everything well enough. Like this is just your premier prep shortstop bat. And I think the floor is so high because the defense is truly incredible for a guy so young that I'm really kind of excited to see what happens with him moving forward. You couldn't have done any better at 10, in my opinion, with what was on the board. And then looking kind of deeper into your system, Sam Atonacci is one of my favorite guys. I know there's some stats going around where he just doesn't strike out and he puts the ball in play a bunch. That was a mid-major guy who just is excelling in pro ball and is still kind of going under the radar. And then my last favorite guy, someone I actually played against in college, is Riku Nishida. Japanese lefty man. He played at University of Oregon right in my backyard here. Swung with a wood bat in college. First of all, it's the greatest thing ever. Riku, like if he makes it to the league, could be a really fun kind of player. Like absolutely idolizes Ichiro, and you can see that in everything he does because he's that profile, but obviously toned down a bunch. But Riku Nishida is like maybe the 20th best prospect in the White Sox system. Like he's definitely like MLB relevant in my opinion because of how much of a threat he is on the base paths and the contact ability. So he's just a fun prospect. You don't see guys in his mold anymore nowadays. So I'm keeping an eye on him.
What is your thoughts on Jaden Faust?
You guys probably had the best prep 1-2 punch in the draft, other than maybe Kansas City getting a Faust. I don't exactly know the pronunciation. A big time upside. I don't think he's going to stick at catcher. I don't remember what he was announced as for the White Sox, but
so they're starting him in center.
I like that a lot. I think that there was some concern that he was going to want to stick at catcher, or maybe even go to campus because he thought he was a catcher. He's going to be a great athlete with just plus power tools, a hitter-led profile, hit first guy. But like I had him as borderline first round, so getting him in the second is great value. And you guys, just the 1-2 punch early in the draft cannot go unrecognized for the White Sox this year. That's why I had him at that A- that you said.
I was on a live with some of the other boys, and when Steele Hall got picked to the Reds at 9, the whole room erupted because they was like, okay, if we get Billy Carlson, we could just log off right now and have a great night. And Lord and behold, what happened? Like, I've never been in an atmosphere like that to where a baseball draft really uplifted the mood of guys. And me seeing what I've seen in Billy Carlson, I see his floor is Zach Cozart. And when I think about that, Zach Cozart was a good Major League Baseball player. Especially, he turned some of the most spectacular double plays with Brandon Phillips. If Billy Carlson has a chance to be better, a good chance to be better than that, oh, I'll take that. 1,000,000,000%. So I was happy with the draft and the fact that the White Sox are sticking with the interior of the diamond, because if you got an athletic guy that once played catcher and you're trying him out in center field, that don't happen. Who do they think he is? Dale Murphy? Like, I mean, and we got baseball guys running the system now. This ain't the computer generated simulation running the South Side. Now we got Barfield, we got Bannister with the good changeup. We already got Will Venable, who had a 126 WRC plus for the Padres one point when him and Chris DeNorfia was running the show. Like, he knows how to be a big league player. And I think that's one of the biggest reasons why after the All-Star break, we've seen this team, I'm not going to say turn a corner because we're miles away from competing, but look at the product on the field. It's very hard to whoop the White Sox ass. Like, it's a pain in the ass to play the White Sox. We took we took the Angels to the brink this afternoon if Taylor Ward didn't happen. Like, literally a couple pitches away from a sweep. I feel like at the end of the day, we're going to look back at this draft in 2028 and 2029 because we're going to see these kids on the field. I feel like the White Sox drafted to accelerated program to get these guys on the field. You're going to introduce Colson Montgomery is on fire. I'm pretty sure he's going to get at least 12 MVP votes from what he's done from the All-Star break. You got Colson Montgomery, and you have an opportunity to introduce more talent to him when he's 26, maybe at his oldest. That's when we're going to see Billy Carlson and Faust.
Yeah.
Like, not to mention Caleb Bonham, who might just shock everybody like Jordan Westberg did and just come up and just beat the hell out of a baseball. Like, I'm really intrigued with the White Sox because mainstream media told me last year that this team doesn't have any hope. We're just in a dumpster. We're just Pedro Gaffal's graveyard. Now we have this conversation. What is this, August 3rd? And I'm like, I can't wait till the White Sox play again. And it's been like that, Nate, for it's going on 2.5 months. I'm talking about way before the trade deadline. I've been telling people take the over on the White Sox. Like, you're going to have to take the over on the win total.
Next year could get sneaky fun with just the young. It's so many young, fun big leaguers at this point. That's a testament to the trades and the draft and develop and the hitting development that has been happening lately. And it's not going to stop because getting guys like Billy Carlson and Fausti in your system is a stamp of approval from ownership that, we can develop these guys. We can take high school guys because we are confident in our abilities. I think that's the best thing you can see as a fan.
I think my favorite thing I took away from this was your love for Atonacci, because when I think it was after the draft, I did one before and after, but I put like a projected core out there on Twitter for the Sox, and some people gave me some heat because I put in Atonacci as that second baseman eventually. And I took a lot of shit for it, but that average and speed still remained, and he's starting to be.
That doesn't slump. Bat to ball and speed does not slump, Gonzo.
Yeah, a lot of people are hated that I put, Chase Smydreth as my utility guy, but I think you're starting to see why I put some guys, up in that court conversation. Like I put Bonnemer at third. I don't think I put anyone at short yet. I gotta give Colson some time to linger. And I don't even think he remains, I think they've been playing him short and third, but I got a feeling he might even end up at first base potentially with that athleticism he has. But I don't see anyone at this point, up the middle in the infield yet. Besides, or when Carlson, when they drafted him, I put him at short. But at second base, I put Atonacci for now. But maybe next year's draft they go also with a shortstop, a guy that they can put right there up the middle to go with Carlson. Maybe that's what they do. But for now, I just have Atonacci. So Nate, I appreciate that love that you gave to me without even, I had no clue that was coming.
You were really turning red, Gonzo, on the show. I'm gonna.
I've been baked since I got on here, so it's all good.
Smitten.
So that wraps up everything pitching with Nate. As before we let Nate go, I wanted him to be involved in our next conversation, Jay, as we get out of this interview.
Okay.
And that is the miraculous decision. And Ozzie Guillen's favorite move at the deadline was keeping Luis Robert.
Here you go with this, bro. Oh my God.
So, Nate, I was very upset.
In advance, Nate. I'm sorry in advance.
I've been very upset about it, but I was curious, Nate, where were your thoughts? Because you were doing it live, the trade deadline. So I want to know everything about this from an outside source. Where did you think? Well, hold up. Where did you think the value? Like, what do you think they could have gotten if they ate the money and maybe packaged him with a Vassal or a Hauser or someone? Like, I want to know where he probably was, offered.
I think the one problem was that all the teams that were in on center fielders didn't need the package guy or whatnot, and didn't need them to eat them. Like the Philadelphia Phillies were the easiest comp for Luis Robert, and the Phillies wouldn't have needed the White Sox to eat any money. They could care less because they want to get the best player that they possibly can over there, and they don't want to have to give up as much. So that's why I think we started hearing these quotes that, they just want a top 10 guy at this point. That's kind of a crazy thing to say for a player of Luis Robert's talent, in my opinion. Like, he's worth a top 10 prospect, but his teams didn't care if the White Sox were going to pay the money down or not. They would rather just keep the salary as is and not have to give up someone as good because the contract is so big. So I think that's where we saw the disconnect between the two sides, was the White Sox were probably trying to pay him down to get an actually good prospect back. And the teams that needed the center fielder, the New York Mets, the Philadelphia Phillies, didn't need for the contract to be paid down. So the White Sox had less bargaining room than their trade partners maybe did. That's what I took away from it, though, after talking to some people.
Me as a fan, so I was off the Luis Robert train a year and a half ago when I seen a lethargic play. You're not running out ground balls. Literally, you're a liability throwing the ball to bases. You can't hit the cutoff man in the chest. But looking back on this deadline, let's just say we pick up Luis Robert's option. If he's the only person making $20 million on this roster, I'll be okay with that. If you're looking at how much the payroll has shrunk to the talent, Luis Robert is going to be the most talented guy on this 40-man roster, regardless, just unconditionally, depending on, just because we're not in position to get anybody better than him, on top of the fact that we've already seen how good Luis Robert can be. Everybody else's question marks. I'm okay with Luis Robert being on this White Sox team going forward, especially since you've already built some sort of competitive foundation Will Venable got the reins. He's getting a good product on the field. We're not throwing the ball all over the yard. The White Sox are playing better baseball than the Yankees right now, today. Let that sink in, gentlemen. And we are, what, 20 games beneath them right now on the win column? That is due to Will Venable setting the standard. I feel like Luis Robert, even though he has areas of lethargy, he is a part of that standard. And $20 million is nothing compared to everybody else. Who else is making money on the team? Like, if he's the only guy getting a check cut for him, I'm okay with that. Because what if Luis Robert is healthy? He's the best player on your team, period. It's a no-brainer. I'm not giving him away just because I'm supposed to give him away. No, I'm not. I still have to feel the product. I'm still building this thing. He's not 32, 33. Imagine if Luis Robert was Marcell Ozuna right now. Then this is a totally different conversation. Totally different conversation.
Well, Jay's comfortable with mediocrity. That's okay.
No, see.
I'm just put it this way, right? This was before Andrew Vaughn got to Milwaukee. They were putting up the same numbers.
Oh boy.
Andrew Vaughn was getting paid $6 million. Luis Robert's getting paid $20 million. Like, this is Luis Robert. His production.
Was escape the Andrew Vaughn talk. I swear to God.
Luis Robert's at 27 right now. And the thing is like I saw people posting about Luis Angel Acuna, being in that conversation. And I'm like, I would still take a shot at his upside at 23 than Robert at 27.
Yeah, but I mean, what position would you have Luis Angel play?
Well, at the moment, second base is wide open.
You already got my draw.
And he can play all over the diamond.
You got Colson Montgomery.
Same thing. You can rotate those two between short and third. You could.
I'm not interrupting my development for Luis Angel Acuna. Hell no. No. Now, if somehow, some way Luis Robert is coming off of an 890 OPS with 32 stolen bases, and we're getting like a Leo or Connor Griffin back, sure. But that ship has sailed. The White Sox were supposed to trade
I think
Robert 2 years ago.
There was better upside out there, but I'm just saying in general, I would take that offer at the moment.
No.
But I think you can do better in a deal at that deadline. But thank you, Nate. We appreciate your time with us.
We do. It was great.
Yeah.
We're gonna have you on again because we need more. We need to see more, and we need more of Nate with us. And we appreciate you as a nice uprising talent out there in the social media and in the baseball world community. For our viewers that haven't yet, please go to the Prospect Live channel. I know we shared the tweet with just your article, but I watched, and it was fantastic, but I watched it on the YouTube channel, your future of baseball, or future pitching. And it was a miraculous job done. Well done. Maybe I should send you a mic because there was some echo in that video, but that's okay.
I know. Yeah, I know. I'm supposed to be the tech guy around here, but thank you guys so much for having me. I really appreciate you guys kind of bumping my stuff.
This was great.
Inviting me on here. It was a really good conversation, man. And just because there's some reliever risk doesn't mean I don't like your prospects. And I think there's a lot to look forward to on the South Side. So I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Nate. We appreciate you, man.
All right,
guys. This is Nate Rasmussen, the coach at Bushnell University and our amateur director at Prospect Live. Tune in, and Nate, we will see you again. Thanks for joining us.
Yep.
All right.
That shit was great.
I don't know where to go from here, to be honest with you, man. We got pitching done.
You let Tyler Anderson stop me from getting my sweep in California. You. Because, if we had Penn Murphy, fuck that.
Well, I do want to, let's have this conversation about Colson.
Okay.
Because obviously he struggled through AA, AAA, right? I thought it was a little premature.
It was hurt too.
Well, he was hurt last year. That doesn't continue on from this
Yeah,
year.
but I mean, you still gotta
But
look at
then again, hold on, man. He is young, right? Not everyone with adjusting to this game of failure does it in a quick fashion. So hopefully, we all know he's going to go through an adjustment period, right? It's just how quickly he can go through that period, make his adjustments, and have success from them. We've seen a lot of things wrong from people. I don't want to say hating on him, but I mean, I was skeptical, right? I mean, there's tweets in 2023. I told one of these people that Colson's going to be a stud, right? But clearly, people are coming at me because I'm like, well, why didn't you include him on your core and whatnot? Well, it's like, well, when I did my core, he was struggling in AAA.
right.
And that continued from his AA experience that he struggled in. So when you talk about him being injured, yes, he was injured in AA last year, right? But that continued to the second level from AA to AAA. And then he had, was it a week or two, coming back from Arizona where he had, I don't want to say it was truly success. It was just you saw that spark, from that slug again, but he was still struggling with that average a little bit. But I thought he should have been proving himself a little bit more down in AAA in Charlotte. But at the end of the day, like you can kind of see the front office is not entirely patient with him, at least. They wanted to give him that opportunity, and I'm glad they did because obviously we're seeing what he can do in the majors. But there's one thing I caught, and if you caught it on your uncle's show, one of the people that were hard on him brought up, and I mentioned it here with Nate, was his, or I'll just say because we got to give credit for it. Eric mentioned him that the White Sox organization should give him the opportunity at playing first base. And we mentioned, Jay, and I think it was Elijah's interview. We talked about the lack of depth at first base. So if you could put Colson there, and let him flourish with it, maybe you solve that first base position. I mean, for me saying that, I'll be honest, it sucks for me saying, hey, I'm done seeing what he can do at shortstop or third base, but at the same time, I like that athleticism. And if he could be a Gold Glove first baseman with that bat, that's a totally different ball game. Go ahead.
Are you familiar with one Josh Smith of the Texas Rangers?
Yep. It's your favorite bet in fantasy.
One of my favorite bets in fantasy. You know why? Because he's a left-handed hitting infielder that can bounce around every position. If somehow, some way, Barfield can turn Montgomery into a versatile bat like that, because look at most of the talent in the White Sox minor leagues play the middle infield. So that we're going to get into a logjam there. We've seen the Red Sox move Chris Campbell around. Rafaela is taking reps at second base. He's had a few games at second base. The versatility of your ball club is your strong suit, because you wouldn't have a logjam. If the White Sox can turn Colson Montgomery into Josh Smith, I would be happy, because not only will he be good enough to play shortstop, he'll be productive enough to fill in at other positions while we get through the rebuild. If you look at Moncada, look at Tim Anderson, look at Abreu, look at Robert, they all play one position, Gonzo. So sometimes you lose your versatility when your best players can't move. Like if you have talent that can be mobile, that's good. Because what if Jackson Merrill wasn't able to play center field? What if Fernando Tatis couldn't make the transition to right field? You are F-U-C-K-E-D. The White Sox are making a team to where they're not F-U-C-K-E-D. And Colson Montgomery is the heart of that, because he made some good plays at third base. He had an error a couple days ago, but I'm okay with that. But at the end of the day, we're watching a young kid grow up in the major leagues and be versatile on the left side of the diamond. That's all I can ask. instead of Colson Montgomery being the everyday shortstop of the White Sox, I want him to have many tools of his trade, especially when you're going to slug 547. If you could take that to multiple positions, that's definitely a profile, because Josh Smith has played first base for the Texas Rangers, Gonzo.
Yeah. No, and I mean, granted, we have so many guys down there in the minors right now, and we know, as talented as they are, they might not pan out. So a Bonnemer that's at third base, he might not be there. So
Right.
Colson, hey, if you can play both, but that just comes to saying, though, I would love to see that assessment at first base to see if he can play both corners, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But that athleticism, I'm sure, you know, I don't doubt it, but it's just nice knowing at the pro level he can do both. So
I had a little bit of question with his athleticism because, you know, he's a bigger guy and lateral movement is a challenge. But watching him like make some of those charging plays at third base, he's nimble enough. And that's all you can really ask, because if you look at infield dynamics right now in the major leagues, they don't really care about having an athlete at every position. As long as you got soft hands and you could throw accurately. Obviously, being a shortstop, Colson could do that. But him being able to explode on a charging play at his size, I love it. I love that. And the fact that Will Venable is taking advantage of the fact that you can move him in between the left side of the diamond, that's great too. I just feel like guys like Kyle Thiel, you know, would get an opportunity at first base before we see Colson transition to that other, you know, that's a completely different side of the diamond, you know.
yeah. Well, I think that does it. About you know, we talked pitching, we talked a little bit about, you know, the deadline, a little bit about the second
Dude,
half
you didn't even let me
positioning.
change, bro. Like,
I know.
I smell like 9 innings.
And I got something to tell you, something
Oh
that will
boy.
excite you.
All right.
Justin, Jay, you won Pick to Click.
Just fucking go!
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay has got his first victory of the season.
You didn't have to say that. You could have just left it at J1 and we move on. You don't have to tell them.
Do you even remember who you won with? That's another question.
No, I don't. But you do. Thank you.
You won with Miguel Vargas. So
and he's on the IL right now. That's for you. I picked Miguel Vargas for you.
Yeah, you did. So Miguel Vargas is off the board, Jay. Who you rocking and rolling with?
Give me Chase my draw. Even though he's on the man, he got hit in the thumb. He'll be back. Give me Chase my draw.
Okay. You gave me the guy that we're just going to be talking about, and I'm going to go with Colson Montgomery.
That's kind of a layup, though.
It is a layup, but I need everything I can get to catch OJ.
OJ's like a ghost on the show. How is he winning? He's like Voldemort from Harry Potter. Like, we can't even say his name.
He who should not be named.
Dude, I love Nate Rasmussen today. He was great.
Yes. So you are going with Chase Mydroth. I'm going to go with Colson Montgomery. All right, Jay, give me some shout-outs.
First of all, got to give a shout out to the Southworks. We're coming up on a pennant race, boys, and we absolutely needed these 2 games today, and we got the job done. The second game, your boy Jay Targaryen went 4 for 5 with 3 runs scored, 2 RBIs. At the end of the day, Gonzo, we're coming up on the dog days of summer. It's either you put up or you shut up. We just seen Nate Rasmussen come on the Blackout and drop some fucking decent takes. Like, this shit was great. Gonzo, we're coming up on the meat and the Blackout. It's winning time. The White Sox started their winning early. Like, literally one of the best teams out of the break. I have to give a shout out to the South Side in general, because at the end of the day, the most hardworking people in America are showing up. And we don't care about circumstances. We don't care about any of the other things that most people worry about. I know we took a L today, Gonzo, but the White Sox have been better than most. Southworks
Is that
have been better than most.
Is that 3 straight series?
Yes. And we got rid of the Angels early. That's Savali yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Bro.
8 strikeouts.
8 innings. Yeah, not the K's. The man ate some innings. Like, you know what? Before we leave, you better give my man Chris Getz credit for keeping Savali and Trey Hauser. Right now. I mean,
before that start, Savali was getting pretty beat up, so. But we got someone to eat innings, that's for sure.
And we're going to need that going forward because we have a pipeline of arms that we can't run into the ground. We can't run Grant Taylor into the ground. Next year, we cannot run Tanner McDougal into the ground. Like, we cannot afford that. We need to keep them fresh. Oil changes. Every three appearances, oil changes.
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out to my fiance, Soraya. She starts vet school in 2 weeks. Her schedule's looking like a Christmas tree. She got all of her, syllabuses. And
it's the most wonderful time
of the year. And that means football's around the corner. So you know things are about to get interesting. We got playoffs for fantasy coming up. We got a lot coming in, Jay.
Bear down, baby.
Before we get going, what's one thing you're most excited for the second half with the White Sox?
I'm excited for guys like Kyle Thiel. And I'm going to tell you why. I knew Kyle Thiel was a good catcher. I knew he was a good eye at the plate, good concept of the strike zone, great swing decisions. I know the nerds love swing decision. But watching him run the bases, convicted. Remember Joe McEwen's last year? He was getting killed for sending dead bodies around third base. Like, literally, we don't have that issue because all the boys are hustling. They're thirsty. That's what I'm most excited about. We got the Yankees coming to town. We got the Tribe at the end of the week, Gonzo. These are teams that are at or above 500. I want to see how much the White Sox can raise their level of competition while still having minimal talent, because they've been must-see TV after the All-Star break. I'm not gonna lie, I haven't missed a White Sox game this year. The fact that since June 23rd they haven't been blown out. I'm talking about being beat by like 7 runs. Like, they had me tuning in to a basement team. Like, I don't watch Bulls games like that. You know what I'm saying? And the Bulls are the play-in hopeful. If baseball had a play-in, I don't think the White Sox would make that either. But I can't miss a game. I need to see everything. I'm hopeful just to be able to tune in.
I don't think this is the case, and I don't see this team starting to tank. So I'm loving the way Venable's managing this young roster, keeping them playing hard, and I think this is going to carry out. I don't think they're going to lose 100 losses this year either. And
no.
And quite frankly, we might not be top 3, but I think we could be in that top 5 range in the draft as a deep class. So I don't really care really at this point where they end up, because I know it'll be in that range and it's a deep class. So I'm not going to say let's tank, right? I want to see this team building that culture and playing it out. Everybody for watching, thank you for tuning in to tonight's show.
We love you.
We had a special guest with Rasmussen, and follow in at his work at the Prospect Live channel on Twitter and all social media. Thank you for tuning in and watching the Blackout.